Grace and Peace, Rudy Collective. Okay, I have a question. Have you ever had a dream that made you wonder if it was just a dream or if there was something else to it? Because these TikToks are talking about dreams as warnings, and I'm kind of curious about that. So let's watch.
Stay awakened, stay rooted.
Hey y'all. Okay, so I wanted to make this video real quick before I go into work. So I've told you about my dreams and about how I feel like, stuff is following me around. Well, anyway, this is one of those things where kind of makes you feel like if you talk to someone about it or tell the person you dream about that you're crazy. Well, I'm not crazy because this happened to me a few days ago. I had a really bad dream that somebody accidentally unalived themselves while cleaning a firearm. The wild part is they live thousands of miles away. They were friends of mine in school way back in the day, and I haven't talked to them in like 10 years. The only way that we have any contact is through Facebook, and that's just liking each other's posts because we have families, and I haven't talked to her in like a really long time, so that's it. Anyhow, a few nights ago, I had a dream that she was cleaning a firearm and it accidentally discharged and shot herself in the face. I was walking out of a room and I said, "What happened?" And she was saying like incoherent sentences and walking toward me, and I could see what happened. And I couldn't understand what she was trying to tell me. I could just see something was wrong. So I tried to call 911, and then I woke up and I panicked. I didn't know what to do, and I went and got something to drink. I came back, I sat down, and then I laid back down and went back to sleep, and I had the dream again. This time she was calling for help on the phone after, the whole thing replayed again. But this time it was me, and I answered the phone, and I guess I was 911 dispatch. I don't know, but I was there looking at her, and she was asking for help. So I was like, okay, well, what do you want me to do? And I kept telling her, I was like, we need to go to the hospital. It was just such a weird dream, and I could like smell the blood. I could like just feel her fear. It was terrible. And like I said, I've not talked to this woman or seen her in years, and I'm not going to disclose her name or the messages or like where I called her and all that, because this is what happened. So I woke up again, and I woke my husband up, and he's like, "What's wrong?" I told him, and he said, "Well, do you have her phone number?" I said, "No, I have to call her through Facebook Messenger." And he said, well, okay. So I did. I blew her up. Okay, and she didn't answer, of course. There's like a 3-hour difference from where she's at to where I'm at, and she just didn't answer, and I was just messaging her frantically. Finally, she called me back, and she's like, "Hey, I thought maybe this was like someone hacked your account, whatever." And all the niceties aside, I was like, "Listen to me." And I told her, and she said, "That's fucked up, because I just woke up from like a terrible, terrible dream myself that I was unalived." But she said, the other word, with a firearm. I said, "Be careful." She's like, "I don't even have those in my house." And I said, "Well, okay, does it matter? I still, please don't, just be careful." So a couple days pass, and I don't see her posting anything on Facebook. I don't, nothing, but we did exchange phone numbers. I get home from work, and it's late here, and it's still 3 hours difference there. She calls me ugly crying, FaceTimes me rather, ugly crying. And this is what she told me. She met a guy on a dating site, and they'd been talking for a while. And they made plans to meet each other. And she was real excited. She really liked the guy. And I guess they'd been talking for a while. And they were going to go out. And I told her, I was like, oh, that's good, whatever. She's like, well, hold on. She's like, you're going to think that I'm crazy or that I'm lying, but you'll probably hear about it. Maybe on the news. She's like, maybe not. She's like, it was pretty local to my town. And granted, she lives in a big state, but she lives in a real tiny town. So it might be in the newspaper there. I don't know. But like I said, I'm not going to disclose any names. She's not involved anyway, other than she just talked to this guy on a dating site. Well, whether it has anything to do with this or not, he ended up the night that he was supposed to come and pick her up, met up with his ex-girlfriend. And I will assume, because I don't know any details, that they got in an argument. He unalived himself and her with a firearm. And that was the night that he was supposed to go over to her house and pick her up for a date. So makes you wonder, was he in that mood to do something like that? And that was his intention. And she just happened to show up at his place. And she was the one to get that end of it. Who knows? It's funny how things work. Whether it was a coincidence or a warning. Listen to your dreams, listen to your intuition. Your gut is correct. If you have a bad feeling, it's probably for a reason. I believe it now. Always say something. It doesn't matter how crazy you sound, because more than likely you're going to change somebody's path in a good way. If you have a bad feeling, change what you're doing and do something different, because that can fix it for you. Just always keep that in mind and be safe, guys, okay? Because that freaked me out, and I don't want to see anything bad happen to anybody. So if you have a bad dream, think about it, and really, really just, if it's about somebody else, talk to them about it. You're not crazy. It might be a warning. It probably is. That was, and I hadn't talked to that woman in 10 years. All right, guys, I got to go in. I love you, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
So, I started out this video saying I was curious. Her video, the dream she had was definitely a warning. Definitely a warning. That is crazy.
I literally had a dream that was so deep and so real and so spiritual that I literally woke up shaking, like a tremble. And it was cold in my room, but baby, I sleep in the cold. That's comfortable for me. I sleep in the cold every single night, and I wake up just happy and feeling blessed and feeling grateful. But no, like I was shaking from this dream, like trembling, like teeth chattering. This dream was so real and so deep and so spiritual. So I'm in a classroom. I'm with 4 of my friends and then 4 people that I know adjacent. We're all in this classroom, right? Everything seems fine. It seems like a normal day. Everything seems fine. It seems like a normal day. Everything seems fine. It seems like a normal day. Then all of a sudden, all of us that were in the room, okay? All of us that were in the room hear a countdown in our spirits. Not out loud, not on a speaker. Somebody didn't say it out loud. We all heard it in our spirits. The countdown was 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then like some people heard variations. Some people heard the 5, 4, 3. Other people heard the 5, 4, 3, 2, and the 3, 2, 1. Like it was different variations, but we all heard the same countdown at the same time, to the point where we all immediately like ducked under the table immediately. Like none of us wasted any time. We ducked under the table immediately because we didn't know what was going to happen with that countdown. We didn't know what was happening. We didn't know what was going on. We hear that we all duck under the table. It was a science table. We're in the classroom. It was a science table, like them blacktop science tables in school. We duck. And we sitting there like, oh my gosh, what was that? Like, what's happening here? Then we see police sirens like through the reflection, like the lights coming off the reflection, like from other parts in the classroom. And because the classroom had these like these kind of like floor to ceiling windows with these 2 double glass doors. So my friend, we get up. She gets up first. We all get up, right? And we're praying, and I'm speaking in tongues as we're going to the door. She goes out the door first. She opens up the double doors. The school is on a hill. Mind you that I said before that the classroom had big double glass doors. The one that we just came in, right? We go straight out of the building. The building is on a hill, and there's these long stairs that go down the hill, right? We go out, and everybody in the school building comes out at this point. It's probably like hundreds of thousands of people. Everybody comes out at this point, right? Oh my gosh. And then we're still not understanding like what's happening. It still feels kind of okay, like nothing has like really happened yet at this point. Then these 2 police officers show up at the bottom of the stairs. One of them has a long white scroll-like paper, and he's talking through a bullhorn. Okay, we really were not paying attention to what he was saying, but he was saying what was about to happen. Not like he was a prophet coming to tell us, but he was on the ops team, and he was telling us what the ops was about to do. But still, we really weren't paying attention for real. I don't know why we weren't really paying attention, but we weren't really paying attention for real. So my friend, she goes down the steps, but basically everybody that was in the classroom with me is around. Like I see them. Like we're right next to each other. We're around. Like I see them. We're right next to each other. Then the police officer is talking, right? We're not paying attention to him. And then we say a couple of things, and then all of a sudden this huge siren starts sounding from the air. It was we didn't know where it was coming from. It was the loudest, deepest, scariest siren I've ever heard in my life. Everybody from the school building takes off running. And I'm talking about these hundreds of people that was just in the building that came out, takes off running. Some people ran back to the school building, but other people ran down the stairs in the wrong direction. Like they ran in the wrong direction. Why are you running down the stairs towards the danger? I mean, honestly, but we really didn't know where the danger was coming from. We didn't know if it was coming out the sky. We didn't know if it was coming from the cops that was just standing down there. We didn't know where it was coming from. But that siren was like, run, take cover. We're not playing with you. It's up and it's bad. Like that's what that siren was giving. So we all run. We go straight back to the classroom that we just came out of. Now the building was blue when we came out, but that big glass double doors was not there no more. It was this one teacher holding open this one door, and these hundreds of people trying to run through these doors. Through this one door. So I try to go to the other doors. At the same time, I'm looking around for my group, for my people that was just with me. I can't find them. I don't see them. I can't find my group. I can't find them. I don't see them. I'm trying to go to the other doors, but the doors are literally locked and sealed. They were like the iron steel doors that be like, that be like at the school. They were sealed. They were shut. They didn't even have a handle. We could not get through them doors. So then I tried to go through the other door, and I even tried to wait a little bit because I could not find my people. I'm like, oh my gosh, where's Air? Where's Michaela? Where's Mackenzie? Where's Erica? Where's this? Where's that? I'm trying to figure out where they are, but I cannot find them. I cannot see them. I do not know where they are at. So then I finally get through the door. Thank Jesus that I finally get through the door. But when I get through that door, oh my gosh, I still can't find nobody. I'm even waiting a little bit right there to see if somebody's gonna come behind me, because we was just all together. Why are y'all not with me right now? We were just all together. So then I woke up, and I was shaking. like the dream was so weird. The siren kept going. It kept going. It felt like it was never going to end. I woke up. I was shaking, bro. I woke up and I was shaking. And I just felt, it was, my people wasn't there. I didn't know if they got to safety or not. They were not there. I woke up. It was 3 something in the morning. I woke up and I immediately went to go write my dream down. Exactly how it happened. And then I needed to hear the Lord. The Lord spoke so clearly to me. He spoke so clearly to me. Should I go get the paper, Lord? Okay, no, I remember what you said, Jesus. He spoke so clearly. He said this was not to plant fear, but this was a warning. He said that there was something, he said there was a state of emergency that is coming to this earth, coming to this country, that will determine who's coming with him and who's not. There was a state of emergency, and I've heard prophets talk about this already, real prophets. I've heard them talk about this already. He even told my mom as well, who is also a prophet, that there was a shaking. There was something coming to this earth, my goodness, that will make 2020 look like a playground. What? He said this will determine who's coming with me and who's not. And he told me, he said, there is a narrow door. You are not able to determine that for your friends. There is a narrow door. There is a narrow door. The door is narrow, y'all. It was one narrow door in this huge, long school building. Hundreds of people trying to run through. Only one teacher holding it open. Only a couple people were able to get through that door. It was one narrow door. And I woke up and God was like, warn them and remind them. Warn them and remind them. But he said, stack up on water and stack up on essentials. Do not drink the water until it's time. God is calling for repentance, my goodness. God is calling for his holiness and his righteousness, his remnant. God is calling for his people, man. Now, I fully wholeheartedly believe that my people will get through that narrow door. I just wasn't able to see them in the dream. But if you have been obeying the Lord, if you have been choosing the Lord, if you are on the side of God, then by golly gee, you will get through the door. But you got to get through the door. But you have to choose the Lord. Just like you have to obey the word of the Lord. If Noah would have never obeyed the word of the Lord, he would have never been in the ark and he would have been in that flood. My goodness. God is calling for repentance. He's calling for his remnant. He's separating the wheat from the tares. And that narrow door, my gosh, is open now. And I want everybody to get through that narrow door. But it's only one door. There ain't no other door. It's only one. And it's real narrow.
There is not much I can say about that one. Her dream sounds like not a warning, but a heads up.
I just woke up from my second lucid dream ever, and I wanted to tell you what I learned before I forget. In my first one, when I knew I was dreaming, I asked them what time it was and if I was in a dream. It got really uncomfortable really fast, and the whole dream broke down. I went and sat down with some people, and I was really excited. I was like, I'm in a dream, aren't I? I'm in a dream. And they were so uncomfortable. And then one guy looked at me and he said, what do you want me to tell you? And a girl at the table goes, dude, you're gonna get corrected. And a guy at the table goes, yeah, man, you're gonna get corrected. You have to stop. And I was like, all right, you're the guy, you're gonna tell me I'm in a dream. And he's like, I cannot talk to you about this. Let me tell you what happened last night, because I did not let them know I was in a dream. I was with my husband in the car. A lot of times when you're with people that you know, they don't really look like people you know. That's because they aren't people you know. All the people in your dream are souls. They're deceased people that need to ascend. And if they don't ascend, they stay in this limbo land where they have to be actors in everybody's dream. So I was with my husband in the car, and I said to my husband, I'm gonna go to this place or whatever, and I'm gonna get out of the car, and my own car was parked somewhere, and I'll just go drive my other car home and I'll meet you at home. And he was like, fine. So I get out of the car at a stoplight, and once he drives away, I realize I don't have my backpack with my keys, my wallet, my phone, nothing. I have nothing. So I cannot get into my car, and I cannot call him to come back. I go up to all these people. It's a busy street. And I'm like, can I use your phone? Can I call my husband? Can I please use your phone? And everybody says no. I mean, like, I probably asked dozens and dozens of people, and they're all like, oh no. And no, we can't do that and whatever. And they were like kind of mean. The reason why the people in your dreams are often uncomfortable, mean, not nice, or you have outright nightmares is because they don't want to be in the limbo land. Like they want to ascend. And I literally heard them say the word ascend. That's how I know. They didn't want to let me use their phone. And it was about at the, like 25th person I asked that I go, oh my God, I'm in a dream. Go into this bar and it's very lively. And at this point, like I know I'm in a dream. So I start asking them, can I use the phone? Can I use whatever? And somehow they knew I was coming. In my first dream, I ended up in the back rooms where I kept walking into these doors and I kept walking into other people's dreams. First door I walked into, literally it was like some people playing guitar, and the girl looked up at me and she goes, what the fuck? Because they weren't expecting me. So these people in the bar, they were expecting me, and they had a whole skit planned out for me. The skit they planned out was to keep me there and show me all of these like cool, magical, weird objects or something. It was like very interesting, and it was kind of like a store and a bar, but I knew I was in a dream, so I was like, I'm gonna mess with them. I kept asking for all these like fantastical things. Like, I don't remember what they were now, but it was like, do you have a glowing mushroom with like fire inside of it or something? And they'd be like, oh yeah, we have that. At some point I realized if I could conjure all these weird things in my dream, I could conjure my stuff so I could get home. So I said, you know what? I just realized my backpack is here. It's here, isn't it? And they were like, oh yeah, your backpack is here. My backpack miraculously appeared in this bar. And I opened it, my stuff wasn't in there. And I go, wait a minute, my phone's in here. I know my phone's in here. And they're like, yeah, I think your phone is in there. And it appeared. And I said, I think my wallet's in here with all my money, right? My cards are in here, right? I don't remember now how I heard them talking about ascending, but I did hear it. They were like, don't you want to ascend? Because I think they knew in a way that I knew we were in a dream. In your dream, you can control it, and those people absolutely knew you were coming.
First of all, I have always heard you never ask what time it is in a dream. Somebody even made the point that if you can remember your dreams, you have never seen a clock in your dreams. And two, you never ask, is this a dream? She started off wrong.
I really want to know if people, when they dream, do you die? And if you die, did you feel the pain when you wake up? Or did you just die and wake up? So I'd be having dreams and I actually get killed. And then I wake up with the pain and it lingers for a little bit. So the other day, I had a dream that I was in a bus. And I guess I was a volunteer or something. I don't know. But we were dismissing the kids off to the school. And then we were going to get more kids at another location. Don't know where, because I don't know what my job really was. And the bus driver was driving too fast. So I'm like looking out the window of the bus, which is, I don't know how that's real. But anyways, I was looking out the window of the bus and I seen these cars that we were about to hit because the driver was going too fast. So the driver took a right turn and my head's out the right side, and this girl that is also helping, her head's out the right side of the window too. And when the bus went to turn, it fell on us, obviously, and we got smushed because our heads were out the window. And when I woke up from that dream, I felt the pain in my heart for about 5 minutes. And I just want to know if other people feel that. And that's not the first time I died and felt pain in a dream. I've been shot, killed, wake up, and I feel it wherever I was shot and killed from or at. And then I wonder because I go black for a little bit. It goes black and then I wake up. Like the black is at the afterlife. Did I really die? Am I waking up in a new life? I don't know. Thoughts, questions, maybe answers. Let me know.
So, this is just me. I thought if you actually completely die in your dream, you die in real life. That could be the most childish thing that I have ever said, but that's what I thought. And so I remember somebody saying, if you have a dream and you jump off of a building, if you actually see yourself hit the bottom, that you die. I promise you, I am an adult, but that is what I remember.
This morning, I had a dream that someone was trying to do witchcraft on me. In the dream, I saw this girl that I used to be friends with. Now, I quote this because we didn't really have a relationship. We met through like a app, and we never met in person, but we talked on the phone, and we would plan to meet, but it never came through. And after a while, I just discerned that it wasn't the right friendship, so I cut it off. In this dream, I saw her and another girl, and we were outside of this like restaurant or building or something like that. And I was with some other people, and I said to them, I used to be friends with her, but not anymore, or something like that. So I was highlighting and pointing her out. Then there was another scene where we were actually inside of the building, and now I see her doing witchcraft against me. She took my shoes out of my closet and scattered them all over the floor. And when I saw this, I immediately started to rebuke it and started to pray against it. I started to say, I rebuke this assignment, and I started to, pray. Then I had her crushed in my hand, kind of like, I don't know, it was some sort of object or something like that. And so I started to speak into it and pray. But I noticed that when I started to speak into it and pray, I couldn't hear my voice. And so I was also praying and rebuking it too. When I woke up, I immediately started to interpret the dream, which really to me didn't need much interpretation, but that just comes with practice. I started to pray against witchcraft on the assignment of my walk and my destiny, and I started to pray against witchcraft on the assignment to destroy my voice. And the reason why I did this is because shoes are very important in dreams. When you see this, they often represent your walk, like I say, your destiny, something new, something that God is doing, your assignment. Then obviously the voice is important because we use that to speak. We use that to proclaim the gospel. I use that to speak and proclaim the gospel. I'm sharing this with you guys and highlighting it for a few reasons. I'm sharing it because, one, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. And I have power and authority through Jesus Christ over the enemy and all of his power. That means witchcraft too. And two, I'm sharing it just in case somebody who is watching this page and trying to, do something crazy. And then three, I'm sharing it for awareness, to watch out for these types of symbols and things. And sometimes we might not always see it in this way. Depending on who you are, the fact that it's witchcraft may not always be evident. God has graced me with the ability to see witchcraft when people are actively doing it and when people have done it. And I don't know why the Lord shows it to me in this way, but I usually can almost immediately understand what the assignment of the witchcraft was or is. Like, for instance, I once had a dream that I saw somebody casting a spell on me using glitter. What I saw in the dream was him pouring glitter into a bathtub. But this is the way that the Holy Spirit showed it to me. And what I was able to interpret from that dream was that he was trying to cast a spell that would stick. If you know anything about glitter, then you know that it is very hard to get rid of. Also, we have to be careful who we become friends with. And the only reason that I can see it is because God sees it.
So the question I have about her video is, when she had that person crushed in her hand, or a symbolism of that person crushed in her hand, and she was speaking over it, what is that? Is that not like trying to cast a spell on somebody too?
What was your gateway for being woo? For me, it was the dreams. I have had this dream of this house. It is a very specific house. I know the house. When I walk into the living room, on one side of it is like, a very nice dining room table, and there's like ornate dishes, and they have like mother of pearl like embellishments. So they're like silver and mother of pearl, very gorgeous. And on the outside and the side yard is a garden. I am aware that I am an old lady in this house, and I have gray hair, like, pulled back like I have now, but it's gray, and I am alone and I am sad, and the house is scary, but the garden is safe. So when I moved to the DC metro area 8 years ago, outside of the dream world, I was working with a realtor to find a place to live, and I walked into a lot of different houses, but in this particular case, I walked in the house, I was 2 or 3 steps in, and I realized that I was in the scary living room for my dream. I yelled, like just reflexively yelled, and ran out of the house. I turned around, I was like, there's no way that's the house. I turned around and there it was, a side garden. I have no idea how I dreamed about that house and then experienced that house. But my working theory is parallel realities. I don't even know. But dreams, I'll share a couple of them. I'll share a lot of them. They're fun, and they were my gateway to this woo stuff. How about you?
What made the house scary? And how does she know that she wasn't being shown the house that she would live in?
Let's talk about the time when I was 18 years old and God gave me a dream. In this particular dream, he was warning me about a car accident that I was going to be in if I went on a trip with this woman that I knew. We'll call the woman Janky. At this time, I wasn't saved. As a matter of fact, I had just entered my villain era. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't out here hurting people. I was just living on the wild side, drinking, partying, and dumping dudes whenever they got on my nerves. At this particular time, I was working at Walmart, and Janky was one of my co-workers. Janky was 42 years old, so there was no reason that she should have been hanging around little old me, but the reason Janky and I became relatively cool was because I was partying with my friends. She started hanging out with my friends, partying with us. We all typically went to lunch together on our lunch breaks. So even though we weren't necessarily close, we were cool. One particular day while we were at work, Janky walked up to me and told me that she was going to be going out of town that following weekend for her class reunion. I think it had to be like her 20th class reunion. She asked me if I wanted to tag along. To that, I immediately said no. Even though we hung around each other, Janky and I oftentimes got into it because Janky was always up to something. For example, there were some car seats at the store one time that a lady wanted to buy, and Janky called me over there. The car seats had been zip tied together, and she was like, well, isn't this the price for both of them? And I was like, no. That's the price for one of them. She was like, why are they zip tied together? I've already told the customer that this is the price. And I said, no, ma'am, that's not the price. They're zip tied together to keep them from falling off the riser. Janky got mad at me and tried to pronounce a curse over me, said that I was too smart for my own good and that people like me often would lose our minds because we were so intelligent. True story. The manager had to get involved in that particular situation. And as it turned out, Janky knew the woman. I think this happened after this incident I'm about to tell you about, but this is to give you an idea of the type of person that Janky was. She was always trying to get over, always trying to be manipulative, and always getting in her feelings whenever things didn't work on her behalf. So when she asked me if I wanted to go to Louisiana with her for her class reunion, I was like, absolutely not. But then Janky said something to me. She said, you can bring your boyfriend. I was young and fast. So to me, it sounded like music to my ears. I can bring him. I don't have to deal so much with Janky. We can go to another state, and at the same time I was living with my parents, so I get to stay overnight with a boy. So the plan was we were going to meet up at work that Friday. We had to work that Friday. We were going to leave out immediately once we got off. So the plan was I was going to bring my luggage and bring everything with me. My boyfriend at the time was going to come there around the time that we got off work, and we were going to jump in Janky's car and we were going to go straight ahead to Louisiana. But the night before, I ended up having a dream. I dreamt that I was on this 2-lane road, had a lot of curves on it. I was driving, there was nobody else in the car with me, and it was daytime. And somehow I lost control of the vehicle and drove off the road. Being as it was that I wasn't saved, I thought that meant that I had intuition. So when I woke up, when I went to work, I went over to Janky and I told her about the dream. She went off on me. She said, there you go, already trying to jinx something. Don't be speaking that over this trip. You trying to jinx something. I said, I'm not trying to jinx anything. I'm literally telling you about a dream I had. Anywho, we ended up getting on the road and it started getting dark. And I remember I wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and I decided to ride in the back seat because my boyfriend at the time was in the back seat. But I didn't want Janky to feel like I had abandoned her, so he was sitting on the right-hand side, and I had scooted right next to him so that I can sit between the seat. I can lean to the forward and I can talk to Janky, all the while entertaining him. So I was literally leaning between the seat, having a conversation with Janky while we were on this thin, narrow 2-lane road. It was the same road I saw in my dream, but I didn't think too much of it at the time because it was dark outside and Janky was driving really, really fast. Did I mention it was raining outside? In my dream, it had been sunny outside, but in reality, it was raining outside and I was getting really scared, so I kept asking Janky to slow down. Janky got annoyed with me and she started telling me that she had been driving since I was a twinkle in my daddy's eye, and she wouldn't shut up about it. She was really annoyed. This prompted my little boyfriend at the time, we'll call him Jason, to start talking and say she does that with me too. She's always got something to say. So that conversation seemed to unite them two together because they found something that they didn't like about me and they wanted to discuss it loudly and proudly, and I got upset. I didn't get upset because they were talking about me. I got upset because they wouldn't shut up about it. So in the midst of me getting upset, I decided I don't want to sit next to him and I don't want to sit between the seats and talk to her, so I scooted behind her, not realizing that that very act was going to save my life. When I tell you that God interrupted that moment, he allowed a fence to come into that car with the devil meant for evil turned around for my good. Me getting upset ended up saving my life. Because again, remember, I did not have on a seatbelt. So I scooted behind Janky and I put my head on her seat. I leaned forward on her seat like I was preparing for an accident, but I did that so that I can go to sleep. I didn't want to talk to him. I didn't want to talk to her. I was just letting them just go on and on, having a great time talking about me. And they, at this point, was starting to say, she mad now, ain't she? Look at her, she mad. I didn't say a word. At this time, I was the breakup queen, so I had it in my head, I'll break it up with this dude whenever we get back to Mississippi, and I'm not going to fool with Janky like that. So I ended up falling asleep. Listen, I went into a deep sleep, so I don't know how long it was before we end up having a car accident. What I do remember is just the car started to tailspin. I remember the sounds of the tires screeching, them screaming in the car. I remember being thrashed around, and all of a sudden we went into a ditch. We hit a vehicle and then we went into a ditch. The accident was actually really bad. The car was totaled. Thankfully, none of us were severely hurt. I remember I ended up having a big, giant purple bruise on one of my arms. And of course, after that, Janky accused me of jinxing the trip. Hear me when I say the gifts and the callings are without repentance. Whatever God is showing you through your dreams, believe him. Heed the warning. God tried to warn me in that dream, and thankfully God interrupted that moment and saved my life through me getting offended. But as I mentioned in the prior video, there are a lot of people out here who are no longer on this side of eternity because they constantly kept ignoring the voice of God. So be sure to write your dreams down and pray about them. And if you ain't saved, baby, get saved. I have a video on my page, maybe 4 or 5 videos down, where I'll lead you in the sinner's prayer. Give that gift over to God, because if you don't, the enemy's going to come for that gift so that he can use it. And he will not only use it against you, but he will use it against others.
I wish you would have listened to that dream in the first place and not gone on that trip at all. Just telling that lady about it was not enough, if you ask me.
Let me tell you something about dreams. Dreams are warning you in the spiritual about the physical. Things that you can't see in the spiritual. When you go to sleep, you travel outside your body in the spiritual. So what's around what you can't see in the physical, you see in the spiritual. If you dream about somebody doing you wrong and you see their face and you know them, pay attention to that person when they're around you. Keep your eyes open. If you're dreaming about your husband or wife cheating on you, just pay attention to it. Don't go to them going through their phone. Don't do that. You just pray about it and ask God, what is this? You dream about snakes. Watch out for your company. Watch out for your friends and family. Watch out for these people around you, man. You dream about destruction in the world. Yeah, go tell them stories that you see in your dreams about things you see happening in the world, like destruction, chaos, and storms. Tell them dreams, because things are coming. Things are coming out of people, y'all, in the spiritual and coming to the physical, and we all finna see something. You have a dream that's so deep that you can't forget it. It's meant for you to think and keep your eyes open. Had a sermon said, God, look, that dream, show me what it is, because it scared me. The true word.
And he is very convicted about that.
One of the most common spiritual attacks happens at night when we are sleeping. As a believer, one of Satan's main tactics with God's people is number 1, fear. If you have spiritual attacks in your dreams, you're seeing figures, sleep paralysis, wet dreams. There's different forms of how Satan uses the nighttime, uses the time that we should be resting to bring a full-on spiritual attack. Resting is really a sacred moment because you are actually entering into a spiritual realm. When you go to sleep, scientifically or whatever you want to call it, there's different realms of sleep. But what people don't realize, because I always thought, like, where do we go when we sleep? Because where's my brain? Where's my thoughts? Where are we when we are sleeping? That has always been my thought. But what God has shown me is that there are different realms of this world and a lot of things that man should not even have access to knowing, okay? But there are different realms, just like it is different realms outside of this world and tangible world. There's different sleep realms, and that's scientifically based, okay? So when we are falling into sleep, we are going into different realms. But what people don't realize, that's a whole nother realm of the spirit. What's crazy is whatever we're feeding in our spirit, whatever our eye gates are seeing, whatever we have fed in our spirits can possibly manifest when we are in that sleep realm. And that's why so many people have attacks with fear during the night, or can't sleep during the night, or having massive thoughts. You're thinking, you're overthinking. These things are happening because of what your spirit, whatever you did that day, whatever your spirit was actively doing, now you're going into this other spiritual realm. So now it's becoming manifested. Psalms 91 tells us this: he who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say to the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Surely He will save you from the fowler's snare and the deadly pestilence. Then it goes into say, He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you lies by day. Another scripture that shows us that in the night we are facing spiritual demonic attacks. Proverbs 3:24, when you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. Have no fear of sudden disaster. It goes on to say, have no fear of sudden disaster or of the ruin that overtakes the wicked. For the Lord will be your confidence, and He will keep your foot from being snared. So we see here that there is the kingdom of darkness in the night terror, night hour is very active. We've talked about that realm, that time that God typically calls a specific people to prayer when you're waking up at 3 a.m. that is a call to prayer. That is an hour in the spirit realm that the spiritual activity is very active, is very high. Most people don't realize you're most focused in the night hour. Your spirit is more settled. There's not a lot of things going on in the physical world, in the physical realm, so that other realm begins to pick up and be very active. So what we see here is a manifestation when we are attacked as believers in our sleep. Number one, check yourself. What have I came into agreement with? What have I been reading? What have I been watching? What have been entertaining my spirit that is now manifesting in the physical realm? Most times to protect your spirit, and I want to go back to this because you hear a lot of wicked activity where witches and warlocks take that night terror hour. They take that hour to try to infiltrate people's homes. I forgot what they call it, astral project into your homes and things of that nature. But I implore you, before you lay down, make sure you are praying, but not just praying before you go to sleep. You should be praying throughout the day. There should be a prayer in your spirit. There should be a prayer continuously in your heart, or God, I just thank you. Something throughout the day that sanctifies your home, that sanctifies your spirit. So when you lay down, the enemy cannot infiltrate what is going on. He cannot come into your home. He cannot come into your space because you've read your scripture, you've worshiped, you told God thank you, you've said a prayer, you've prayed over your home, you prayed over your family. Please understand, the attacks of the enemy does not stop. He picks and chooses when, where, what, and why. And a lot of times, just like Job, God will okay it. He will give the okay because He understands and He knows that it only will strengthen us, because in weakness we are made strong. Please know that we don't have to be afraid, that we serve the ultimate power of this world in every single realm that there is. We serve the eternal God, and have peace in knowing that when those attacks come at night, begin to pray, fall on your knees, play worship music, shift the atmosphere, because God is giving you the authority to trample over the enemy. Every serpent, every demon, he has no control. Lean on Jesus. When you begin to feel those activities moving about in your home at night, or you are being attacked, wake up, shake yourself, and make sure you fall on your knees and just pray and invoke the presence of God in your home.
I don't know if this has anything to do with her video, but have you ever heard that your dreams are just your mind's way of making sense of all the things that happen to you throughout the day? Let me know in the comments.
Y'all, a few months ago, I had a dream that fires were coming to America. In this dream, I was running in the street or something like that, and there was like whirlwinds of fire. It was like tornadoes of fire just swirling around the street, and it was consuming everybody in the street. And then eventually it got to me, and then God shielded me from being burnt. Come on, almost. Don't have me running over here. I usually have dreams all the time, and I usually think of them as more symbolic than literal. And what's happening in Cali right now, they get fires all the time. We know that. Never have I ever seen fires of this magnitude hit anywhere in the U.S. other than maybe Maui. It's really pricking it on me to just remain prayerful and know that God is in control. I'm praying for everybody in Cali right now. I'm praying that God shields and protects, and that the loss of life is mitigated. But this is a reminder that there is safety in knowing God. He covers and he protects his children. If your relationship with God is not strong right now, I implore you. I have this funny suspicion that things are just going to pick up. I don't see things slowing down. So please, if you don't know the Lord, God, the Father, Savior, Jesus Christ, the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, I implore you, please know him now. Do not delay.
Y'all, please pay attention to your dreams. It could be God trying to warn you about someone. I had a dream, and it was about a big yellow snake, and in that dream the snake was friendly. And so that kind of confused me, because I was like, okay, we know that yellow is usually associated with happiness and joy, but I read somewhere that also it can represent deceit and cowardness. And so I was like, okay, let me just take this to God. And so I asked God, okay, God, what does this dream mean? Like, and God was like, there's no such thing as a friendly snake. And so he took me to Genesis 3, where Eve has the conversation with the snake in the garden. And remember, the snake was deceitful, right? But if you think about it, why would she have a conversation with the snake if he didn't appear friendly? And so I remember something that my pastor said. He said snakes belong in a garden, so it looked like he belonged there. So that's probably why she had a conversation with him. And so, and I thought about that. People are very deceitful, and you have to use discernment. So one of the things that I learned from Genesis 3 is that the Bible teaches us what to do and what not to do, and so we can learn from Eve what not to do. And so also I wanted to share with you all, I had a cousin to tell me that because she's going to school to be a veterinarian, and I was like, oh, are you going to take care of snakes? I was like, I don't like snakes. And she was like, oh, I love snakes. And she was like, my brother had a pet snake when he was younger. And she said she used to hold the snake, and then she said her mom got rid of the snake. And I said, well, why did she do that? She said because the snake would start to squeeze her. A pet snake, and she would play with the snake. She loved the snake, but the snake still would squeeze her. And so her mom's like, this snake got to go. So y'all, please pay attention to your dreams. And what that dream let me know, that there's somebody around me who's very deceitful and who's sneaky, and they may appear to be to be happy or to be nice or whatever, or friendly, but deep down they're really deceitful. So yeah, just pay attention to your dreams, because that's one of the ways that God speaks to us. Remember, he spoke there's a lot of people that he spoke to in dreams. He spoke to Joseph in a dream. He spoke to and I'm talking about the Joseph, Jesus' earthly father, because he warned him in those dreams. And a lot of times God will give us dreams to warn us about certain things and certain people. So take heed to this message. And also, if you've had a dream about snakes, drop it in the comments. Or if you've had any type of dream, just share in the comments what you believe God revealed to you about that dream. Also, if you don't know where to start with reading your Bible, I have a study guide in my bio. Just click the link in my bio and you can download it for free. It's just a few tips just to help you out and get better with the Bible. And also, if you have any questions about the Bible, I'd be happy to answer them. So just drop them in the comments.
So I can understand the symbolism of dreaming about a snake and thinking of that as a warning that somebody around you is being sneaky. I can definitely get with that. Have I ever dreamed about a snake? No, I have not, thankfully.
I recently broke a dream rule and it was terrifying. I didn't even know that was a thing until this happened to me. Dream rules are basically a set of rules you're meant to follow if you end up being in a lucid dream. I never have those usually, but I had one the other night. A lucid dream is when you're like fully conscious and aware that you're dreaming. Some people can like control their dreams. I've only had like 2 or 3 in my life. They're fun. The dream I was having the other night was one I've had before, and my sister has actually also had the same one. My mom's dead, and in this dream, she's been like secretly alive this whole time, and it's a huge relief because it's like, oh my God, she's alive, and I'm hugging her, and I'm so happy. But because I had had this dream before, I suddenly became aware that I was dreaming. I remember thinking to myself in the dream, we've had this one before. It's not real, it's a dream. But then I got really excited because, oh my God, I should go tell my mom all the things that I want to tell her. So I run up to her in the dream and I give her this huge big hug, and she's embracing me back. And I'm saying all of these things that I happen to mention, you know, this is a dream, we don't have a lot of time. And the moment I said that, oh, it was terrifying. She like pushes me off of her and stares at me with this dead blank stare. It really terrified me because like it was like somebody was pretending to be my mom, and I broke the illusion by saying that. When I woke up, I was super unsettled, and I decided to do some research online, and that's when I came across dream rules. A lot of people have the same experience. When they mention to someone in their dream that they know that they're dreaming, they like stop and just stare. That's terrifying. I can't even describe the look that she gave me. It was horrific. It was so scary. Her eyes were like dead. And it sucks because this whole time I've always thought to myself, you know, my mom's the one visiting me in my dreams, but I know that that was not her. And I think that's what makes it scarier. And I think it's scary that other people have had these experiences as well. Like, we know so little about dreaming. It's just so creepy. I would love to make more videos on this because there's so much more to say. I would love to know if any of you have had an experience like this before. The only dream rule I was aware about is the one where you're not meant to go to the bathroom in your dream. I think we all learned that as a child. What do you think? Let me know.
I didn't know about the one about not going to the bathroom, but like I was saying before, I knew the one about not asking what time it was and not saying, I know this is a dream in the dream.
There's one dream that you should never ignore. And that's the dream where you wake up after dying, or worse, have died in the dream. Everyone will tell you that the meaning is obvious. It's that you are under spiritual attack from some outside force that's trying to drain your energy. And I'm here to tell you that the only attack is your social media algorithm and these woo-woo gurus who make up these interpretations. Death is actually about a new beginning. In order to start a new phase of your life, you have to die to your old self. And so therefore, it's very common for parents to dream about their children dying. Not because they're in danger from spiritual attack, but because my child is gone and in their place is a teenager. They grew up. And there's a part of you today that needs to pass away. Not literally, but emotionally. So that way, the more mature and the confident and strong and the more resilient part of you can take its place. Don't miss that call. If you want to learn the true meaning of your dreams, tap like and follow so you see me again. Otherwise, you may never know. Good night.
That was interesting. That was interesting.
All right, y'all. So y'all might have been having some dreams recently of people that you have not spoken to in a long time. Divine Holy Spirit is trying to show you these people are doing things to pry into your energy. I'm getting romantic, platonic. You could have recently had some exes pop up in your dreams. A family member that you don't speak to. People, these are people that are prying and obsessed with your energy and are constantly trying to make their way back into it. When you mess around with some of these dream states, that is an egregious slight against the divine and is spiritually violating. So the people that you were dreaming about, that's not good. Obviously, if it's like a counterpart, you're going to dream about them. That's a very natural part of things. But as far as like these exes, these former friends, family members, possibly even former coworkers, guess what? They do not have any business being in your fucking dream state after all this time. This might be a common thread. Like it might be one person, one dream, one person, the next dream. You are being shown that these people are playing in your fucking energy. Okay. So be very, very, very mindful if any of these people try to come and talk to you, because they do not mean you any well. They want to benefit from you. They want to siphon off you. They want to knock you off your fucking square. So don't let them do it. It's that simple. Don't let them do it.
When I was a little girl, I used to have the same exact dream every single month. And for some of y'all, this is going to be too much information, but oh well, okay? Every month I would be dreaming about red colors, red curtains, red floors, red bed sets, red everything in the dream. Guess what happened next? Every single time my cycle would start. I'm not gonna lie, for the longest, I thought something was wrong with my ass. I'm like, how can I predict, or whatever is predicting this in these dreams, that my cycle about to start? Looking back at it now, I don't think my dreams was predicting my cycle. What I know now is that my mind, my subconscious, my spirit, whatever you want to call it, it was communicating with me well before my brain caught up. Which brings me to my next point, which I always tell y'all: your soul knows all long before your mind want to accept it. Now, fast forward to me being young and dumb and full of you know what, in a relationship, right? And of course, I have a dream. Sounding like Martin Luther King. Now, despite me telling myself everything looks fine on the surface, I knew what I felt. I kept having dreams over and over and over again that I could not shake, and this nigga was being unfaithful. Now, what got me is, you would think after years, and I do mean years, month over month, my dreams accurately warning me about my own body, that I would listen. I would think that I would have trusted it. But what did I do instead? I ignored it. I made excuses for it. I talked myself out of what I already knew because I didn't want it to be true. Sometimes you all know that, denial is louder than intuition. Isn't that what so many of us do though? We pray for the signs, and as soon as the signs show up, we debating with the sign, and in all your energy explaining them away, even though you asked for them. How many times you dreamed about somebody just for them to call the next day? How many times you dreamed about a place before you even visited it? How many times have you dreamed about losing something only to realize later on it was preparing you for an ending? Maybe you had dreams where your teeth was falling out, or where you was being chased, or a loved one who passed came to visit you. Or perhaps those dreams are not random. Maybe they speaking to you in symbols. Dreams are one of the oldest languages that we have. Sometimes they process in emotions. Sometimes they're revealing patterns that you haven't even noticed yet. Dreams are messages and or warnings from your higher self, from your intuition, from your ancestors. All of them are guiding you towards something you need to pay attention to. As somebody who's decoding dreams on a daily basis, one thing I could tell y'all for sure: these dreams are not here for entertainment. They are here to prepare you for something. Are you paying attention? And they're not always literal either. They are going to speak in symbols, in colors, numbers, people, animals, and all the elements. Once you learn the language, you're going to stop fearing your dreams and tap into that gift. I tell my clients, dreaming is a gift within itself. And then a lot of y'all are mediums because a lot of your ancestors are coming to you in these dreams. If you're fearful, you're going to suppress your gifts. If you're not remembering your dreams, you're suppressing your gifts. Better tap in with Mama T or something and get some of that blue lotus tea or mugwort tea. There's so many different herbs that you could use to help you remember your dream. I'm going to tell y'all another thing. If you keep having the same reoccurring dream, that's because you haven't got the message or the lesson yet. Start decoding these dreams. If you need assistance, you know you could tap in with me. Sometimes them answers you've been searching for while you was awake been coming to you every single night. Although for a long time it used to trip me out that my dreams could help me predict my cycle, that wasn't the biggest lesson for me throughout this whole journey. My biggest lesson was, if my dreams could accurately predict my cycle, why wouldn't it be correct when it was trying to protect my heart? From that day forward, I said, stop asking for signs when you're not ready to receive the signs when they show up. Dreams is speaking a language your conscious mind hasn't learned yet. I'll get in them comments and let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you've ever been forewarned in a dream before. As always, peace, love, and light, and gratitude for watching.
That is why I like her so much. Everything that she talks about resonates.
Question: your dreams ever felt so real that when you woke up, it changed the way that you look at your life? I'll go first. Absolutely. But I'll tell you about one recent dream that was half diabolical. So just 3 days ago, I dreamed the earth was flooded and I was standing somewhere high. Now, I ain't talking about my greens now. I'm talking about I was standing on a building. Now, I can't tell you if there was people behind me, but my best guess is it was a lot of people behind me. That's how I felt. Felt like I was in a moment where it was a bunch of sorrow and a bunch of screaming out and yelling out, but not too heavy though. We were just on the building, but for now, I'll just say I was on the building and I was just looking at everything flooding. It wasn't high enough to reach the building I was on. I don't know what building that was. I don't know why I chose that building, but I did. And I woke up. But you're different. You ever went to sleep and had a super deep dream that you woke up and you just looked at your life differently? Comment below. Let me hear it. Oh God.
I need to tell this dream. I've had many dreams in the past years, but this I think also goes with some of the dreams I've had here recently. This is a tribulation dream, and it is one of the scenarios that I was showed in this dream that is going to be very horrific for these parents. In this dream, I was at a Save More here in Tennessee. It's a Save More. It's a grocery store. And I was standing in the doorway, and I was watching this as it was happening. And it was as though they didn't see me. These were soldiers in black, and they did not see me. But they did see my nephew, was the one that was in the dream, and his daughter. You know, as parents, we say we would give our life for our child. And it may come down to it. In this dream, these soldiers was taking his daughter. And I'm talking about adult child, not children. This soldier was taking his child. And she was going to be taken out. And her dad said, "No, take me instead." But the thing was, as I watched this unfold, they were deceived. They took the child anyway, even though the father decided to give his soul to Satan. They took the child anyway. And then they took his life. And I believe this is one of the scenarios during the tribulation. These parents is going to have to watch their young adult child be taken. And they're going to step in and say, "Take me instead." But it's not going to work like that. I know that's the significance of standing in front of that Save More store now. We got to get out there and we got to get more people saved. We don't save them, the Lord Jesus Christ does. But we are to lead them to Christ. Before that great and terrible day comes, let this cross your mind. We love our children. We do anything for them. But I need you to know, make yourself ready before that time comes, that you may not have to go through this scenario that I've seen in this. I pray that this just comes into your heart and your mind and your spirit, and you turn your life over to Christ. You plead the blood of Jesus over your children, claim them for the kingdom of heaven. Time is short, and we're about to go home. And each season of my life, there's times that God will show me a dream of me having, or me being pregnant. And I know I can't have children no more. So God has birthed this in me for a time, and I believe it is now. I need to get this out to you. Y'all have a blessed day. And you take this dream, this vision, to the Lord. You pray about it. I love you. Get ready.
When I woke up with a tube in my body in a dream, I knew that my cleansings were working. I knew they were working. Quick story time. Basically, the dream world's going to give you messages that the physical world can't give you because you can see more in the spiritual realm. So I remember this one time doing the cleansing, very extensive cleansing, very deep cleansing, and waking the fuck up. And there was this girl in my room with a tube attached to me. I lived in a house in this dream with multiple people. No one saw the girl. But the kicker was the girl didn't have enough time to pull that cord or whatever the fuck it was out of me. When I look at it from my standpoint, to me that was energy siphoning, energy harvesting, pulling all my energy and giving me their nasty energy, which made so much sense because battling addiction, battling mental health issues, not knowing why you can't get out this cycle, but in your fucking dreams, you got something putting something in you and taking something out of you. This is why I say the spiritual realm is very, very, very important. And when you go to sleep and you have a dream, okay, you wake up and you don't try to remember it too fast. Just slowly remember it. Whatever's happening and manifesting in the physical world will oftentimes show up in your dreams. Dreams are metaphorical, so take what resonates. Have a good day, y'all.
So, I had a dream yesterday morning. I really should have came on here yesterday to tell the dream, but I'm being obedient now. So here we go. This dream was scary. It was a warning, not only for myself, but for probably a lot of you as well. This was also a dream within a dream, and it was my first time ever having one of those, so it was kind of crazy. So the setting was a desolate land. Like, think ancient ruins, kind of like the old brick buildings, something like that. I don't want to say it was really in a desert. The setting was it was very desolate. There was a group of people, they were wearing white, and they were walking away from this land. The person who was leading them was Philip Anthony Mitchell. Y'all know the pastor of that one church. I can't remember the name. But yeah. I was with the group, but I started walking away from the group. I was still wearing white with them, but I started walking away from the group towards the desolate land. And Pastor Mitchell was just looking at me like, "What are you doing? Come back. Don't go that way. Come back." Like, he was literally pleading with me to stay with the group and not go over there. It's like he knew something bad was really about to happen. But I wasn't listening, so I just kept walking towards the buildings that were ruins. And I got into one of the rooms, and I immediately felt regret. I started hearing sinister laughing around me. Like, it was coming from different places. It was just like this very evil laugh. And so I was trying to find my way out, so I was just running around trying to find an exit, because for some reason, the way I came, it wasn't there anymore. Like, I couldn't find the exit. Somehow, I finally made my way out, and I'm running like as fast as I can to get out of this land, and the ground starts shaking. And I remember running across a bridge, and as I'm running, I turn to look to the side, and it's like over this body of water, and a humongous ship is on the water, but it's like the water turned into like a tsunami, and it thrusted the ship forward, like towards where I was. Kind of like that scene on the movie Leave the World Behind, towards the beginning of the movie, where the ship is coming closer and closer to the shore. Kind of like that, if you needed like something to envision. But I was running, I kept running. I was running as fast as I could to get out of that land. And I woke up out of that dream, because this was the dream that was within a whole nother dream. So it was crazy, but I don't know if I made it out or not. I hope so, but that was very scary. And in parts of the dream that were outside of this dream, that was within the dream, like the main dream, I was just seeing old familiar faces and old situations that are no longer a part of my life. It was a lot going on. It was a clear warning for me. Now is not the time to dabble in what God has already delivered you from. Lately, I have been struggling with seeing that the stove is hot and going to touch it just to make sure that the stove is still hot. God is saying you're going to get burned. If you keep looking back, you are going to turn into the very same pillar of salt that Lot's wife turned into. And God always deals with me first before I go and put these messages out. And I'm not going to hold you. Yesterday, I was so sick. So I had that dream, I want to say maybe the evening of January 5th, the morning of January 6th. For the remainder of January 6th, I was sick to my stomach. It's not worth it. Whatever it is that is pulling you away from God is not worth it. But as scary as that was, I'm glad he gave me that dream, because I know that he corrects those that he loves. A warning is not bad. He's warning you because he loves you. And I simply don't want to miss out on any blessing that he has for me because of me. Because I wanted to do things my way and be in my flesh and not be obedient. So that's the dream I had. Take heed to the warning. For sure, even if the warning was only for me, I'm taking heed to it. Yeah.
Maybe the warning was for you, because if you saw people walking away from this ruined land, why would you then think it was okay for you to separate from the group? Even though the pastor was telling you don't go back that way, you decided it was okay to go back that way anyway. So maybe this video was your warning about the way that you were going. That is it for this video, you all. Let me know if you agree with some of these videos, first of all. Second of all, if you have had a dream that you thought was a warning, let me know what that dream was down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and you enjoy sort of going into like the spiritual and unexplained, please make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to Awakened and Rooted. Also, make sure you share this video with a friend who may also be on a spiritual journey. Until next time, stay awakened, stay rooted, and I will see you in the next video.